Sonic 3D Blast was Sonic's first 3D adventure, released on November 5th, 1996 for the Sega Genesis and Sega Saturn. For this video, we're going to be exclusively looking at the Sega Genesis version, because that's the only version that ever gets re-released on consoles like the Sega Genesis Classics compilation, Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, and the version we'll be looking at, Sonic Mega Collection. Before we get into that though, we should take a quick look at what Sonic would have gotten had the project not been cancelled, Sonic X-treme. Call it a hunch, but I don't think this would have been what the franchise needed at the time, because not only did the fisheye lens make the gameplay look like eczema, but the levels look like abandoned LEGO projects, and it's not clear what you're supposed to do in these levels. Honestly, had Sonic X-treme actually released, it probably would have been worse than the game we're currently looking at. So after a long, strenuous, and hellish development cycle, Sega just decided to scrap X-treme and focus on porting what they had for Sonic 3D Blast to the Saturn, both versions developed by Traveler's Tales, which you may know from Toy Story and later the LEGO Star Wars games. So the game sees Sonic going to Flicky Island to meet the Flickies, birds apparently capable of traveling through dimensions through giant rings. Robotnik finds out about them and decides to turn them into robots to find the Chaos Emeralds, and as such, Sonic shows up and all he can find are robots like this purple spiral of shit and Motobug's shitty neighbor that blasts falling in reverse music at 2 in the morning. Also, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it looks like Sonic is holding his crotch like he's busting for a piss. Sonic, being the speedy do-gooder, decides to save the Flickies and defeat Dr. Robotnik's plans. Not Robotnik himself, just his plans. Tails and Knuckles apparently showed up as well to find the Chaos Emeralds for Sonic. As a kid, I mainly remember going through Green Grove and stopping when I got to Rusty Ruin, the second level. I don't know why though, I also remember getting lost a lot, but that might just be me being a stupid kid. Later on, I would go see this game pop up on people's top 10 worst Sonic games list, and
we have to give the nod to 3D Blast. Why? Because at the time it was released, Sonic was so hot!
Flicky's Island is best avoided and forgotten as an unfun mess at best.
Sonic's grand entrance onto the 3D stage was more of a glorified nausea simulator. The first thing that you notice whenever you start the game is that it's incredibly disorienting.
I was baffled and befuddled, but now, having grown up and turning 24 at the time of writing this, was this game truly as good as I remember it, or is it truly worth the scorn? So, starting in Green Grove, we get a good place to test our controls. A and C make Sonic jump, but the B button makes Sonic do a roll when running and a spin dash when standing still. Now, maybe it's just me, but the controls also seem way looser than before. Like, Sonic seems way harder to control, like he's always on ice. I swear, jumping and or rolling into enemies has never been this hard to do. Most of the time, I just let them come to me and jump on them when they get too close. Even the gold shield, which gives Sonic the homing attack, doesn't help much because not only is it super easy to lose, it's also incredibly rare. Speaking of shields, there's only 3, and only one of which is an elemental shield. The basic shield is back, and the only elemental shield isn't the electric shield, but the flame shield, which only exists so you can walk on the lava in Volcano Valley. No fire dash this time. Speaking of levels, they aren't great. The music sounds excellent as to be expected from Sonic the Hedgehog, but the levels are not that much different from one another, only really separated by the graphics and a few gimmicks. Green Grove is basic, the levels are the perfect length and doesn't overstay its welcome, unlike the rest of the levels. Rusty Ruin turns Sonic into a fidget spinner sometimes. Great theme with the bits where you need to land on things either uphill or across pits are extremely annoying. Spring Stadium is even more annoying and an annoying eyesore. It looks like a circus thrown up in a playroom, and there are just way too many spike floors for its own good. Diamond Dust is the ice level, making it slippery. At least it would be if the rest of the game wasn't just as slippery. Volcano Valley ain't no lava reef, and this is the only stage where the flame shield is actually useful. Gene Gadget needs to go lay down. This isn't difficult, it's just annoying. My advice? Don't try to bring all the birds to the ring at once, you'd have better luck trying to herd cats. And Panic Puppet is okay, but dock some points for using the same theme as the intro cutscene. I didn't spend too much time on these levels because, like I said before, they're all basically the same. Every level has you kill 5 badniks, rescue the birds, and bring them to the goal ring, lather, rinse, repeat 3 times, and win the level. The bosses aren't anything to write home about, because most are more annoying than fun to fight. This goes quadruple for the boss in Panic Puppet. What doesn't help are the graphics. On Sonic and the enemies, it's fine. I don't have many problems with the look of the characters and objects. What is a problem, and you most likely see it, is the checkerboard floor pattern on almost every single stage. It is a huge eyesore, and I feel like I need to see an eye doctor after playing this crap. The music is pretty good though, but compared to other Sonic games on the Genesis, this one comfortably sits just above Sonic Spinball, but below the other Sonic games. It's pretty good, with my favorites being Rusty Ruin, Diamond Dust, and the boss theme. In conclusion, Sonic 3D Blast was a desperate attempt by Sega to make a 3D Sonic game for a console that couldn't do 3D because Tom Kalinske was too attached to a system that was already on its deathbed, and the Sega CD and 32X were more trouble than they were worth. Sonic 3D Blast gets a lame YouTuber apology video out of 10, because it's annoying, it's superficial, and this was not a labor of love, it was a labor of obligation. I hear the director made a ROM hack that adds a few extra bells and whistles, but I haven't played it and I don't think a few extra features are enough to save this game. And here's my ride. I'll see you with another video. God bless, Godspeed, and good night!